What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Carlos Hernandez,
It's your boy Isaiah. What's up, everybody?
Aaron Johnson, yo. And I'm Christopher Allen.
and today we are going to cover the first half NBA trade deadline.
It's already been an exciting. It hasn't even started yet, and it's already been an exciting 2 days. Some trades you're gonna be like, "What the heck?" and some trades you're gonna be like, "This is actually a good move for the team." But the trade that got me almost bewildered is the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. Him going to Utah
Larry
for
Markkinen.
Larry Marketing thing. We all thought John Morant was gonna get traded by the
I mean,
trade.
I mean, he still could. There's still
He
a
still
good.
could,
There's still like 22 hours left until the deadline.
Yeah.
but I believe he was the biggest chess piece that nobody expected to get moved. I thought after they got rid of Ja, they were gonna build around Triple J, but
Well, now we can see that it's obviously the other way that they moved Jaron Jackson Jr. and they want to build around Ja. But also, that also tells me that they're also looking to move Ja in the future. Build around Ja now, get what you can, and then trade Ja when the time is right.
I mean, I agree. Look, they got rid of Desmond Bain.
Yep.
He's on Orlando now. Those and another interesting thing that Chris and I expected this because we were talking about it and saw reports about it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Let's actually dive into these trades instead of just talking about them. Yeah, so James Harden to Cleveland, and then Darius Garland and a second round pick going to LA. So,
So
like me and you said, Cujo, a second round pick could be valuable, but in this case, it's more likely a bag of chips because Cleveland is a dominant team. So, the likelihood that that second round pick is a high second round pick is very unlikely. So, it's going to be more likely toward the end of the second round, making it equivalent to a bag of chips.
James Harden in Cleveland now.
Yeah.
Like that was expected and unexpected at the same time. But how do you think the backcourt would be with Donovan Mitchell and James Harden? Because Donovan is a pretty ball dominant point guard. Well, in this case now, they're both interchangeable. One could play the guard position and the next one could play shooting guard. So either way, how do you think that backcourt is gonna get along?
I think it's gonna be pretty tight, but just like how it was for James Harden everywhere else after Houston, like it was in Brooklyn, like it was in Philly, and like it was with the Clippers, he's not gonna be the one with the ball in his hand when it matters most.
It's
That's gonna be Donovan.
Donovan Mitchell. So
He's going to be the second option if Donovan goes down. That's the only way he's going to get the ball at the final buzzer.
some people said that it made no sense to trade Darius Garland because they played the same way, meaning James Harden and Darius played the same way. So let me ask you this now: do you think Cleveland are buyers or sellers for the rest of this free agency? I mean trade
Trade
deadline.
deadline.
Excuse
Trade
me.
deadline. Well, as we're gonna get into this, we're gonna see. I believe Cleveland made another trade or two that we will get into. So I'm gonna have to say on that note that Cleveland is definitely a buyer. That they are looking to buy any piece of talent they could get and sell whatever they have to afford getting that talent.
I believe Cleveland is a win now team, judging by this move and
I don't know if they're necessarily win now, but I think they're definitely buyers in hopes to be winning. But I'm not sure if they're necessarily a win now team. I mean, they got pieces they could win, but I'm just wondering how deep they can actually make it into the playoffs with the pieces they acquire.
I
I
believe go
They
ahead,
could
sorry.
possibly. I would gonna say they could possibly go to the conference finals, but I don't know if they're a finals caliber team yet.
No, they're not. I was gonna say to be. I was gonna. You were being generous. I was gonna give them at least the second round, cause as we said before, James Harden is both Donovan Mitchell and James need the ball in their hand. Like we
But
said,
but see, that's what I'm saying. You called Cleveland a win now team. A win now team is a team that's gonna make it to the finals. That's what I'm saying. I think Cleveland can win with what they acquire, but I don't think they're necessarily a win now team.
Carlos, what do
Um,
you think?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm interested in seeing what they do with this trade and like what they end up doing in the future, but it's gonna be a wait and see sort of situation.
I know
I
it,
agree.
and and I'm gonna say one more thing. Knowing James Harden's track record, if he did not get a ring with Cleveland this year or
He's not gonna
anywhere
get it.
near the finals, we're gonna be talking about this man again next year at this time that we've been doing for the last 2, 3 years. Okay.
We're gonna be talking about it forever because he goes to teams and never could win a ring.
And then he constantly requests a trade when he doesn't. Okay. In my opinion.
So let's keep going, shall we?
Chris Paul getting traded to Toronto.
This is something that
Oh,
kind of blew my head a little. This is something that kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. The Toronto Raptors acquiring Chris Paul, and then them not requiring him to show up to the team. So my thing is, it's a three-team trade, and this three-team trade is totally lopsided because the Toronto Raptors get Chris Paul from the LA Clippers. The Brooklyn Nets get Ochai Agbaji from the Toronto Raptors,
and cash
and
consideration.
they also get a pick from I think the pick is from the Raptors if I'm correct.
It's from
Hold
the
up.
Raptors.
Okay,
Raptors.
so okay, this even confuses me more. So the Raptors get Chris Paul from the Clippers. The Brooklyn Nets get Ochai Agbaji and a second round pick from the Raptors. So basically, the Clippers are getting nothing in return. They're just giving up Chris Paul to Toronto, but they're getting nothing in return. But essentially, Toronto's not getting anything in return either because Chris Paul wasn't even staying. He's
It's
either
gonna be a
gonna
potential buyout.
he's gonna be either a buyout or get flipped. He is expected to be waived, but they're also discussing trade talks with other teams for Chris Paul at the same time. So it could go either way. So essentially, Toronto's getting nothing, LA is getting nothing.
And Brooklyn is
All
getting
that somebody, the only person that's getting something is Brooklyn out of this deal.
and
So
he can't
basically,
even say it's something.
Ojai Ajabaji and a
Yeah.
second round pick.
I mean, yeah, that second round pick has more value.
I mean, not rare. I mean, it could, depending on what the Raptors do in the future. It's a 2032. So nobody knows how good the Raptors are going to be
How
in
good the draft
2031, 32.
and nobody knows how good the draft class is gonna be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we don't even know if that pick is going to be great or shit. It's a gamble. So
I mean,
basically, it's all Ochai Ajabaji and a gamble. That's all Brooklyn is getting. The Raptors are getting nothing. The Clippers are getting nothing. And the only thing the Clippers are doing is giving up Chris Paul. And all the Raptors are doing are giving up a pick, which is a gamble, and Ochai Ajabaji. So I'm thinking, what the fuck is this trade? If nobody's really giving up anything, they're just moving pawns on a game of chess, really.
And
I
Chris
mean,
Paul is just literally sitting at home.
exactly, because he's about to retire at the end of this season. This season was about to be his final season until the Clippers waived him in, I believe, mid November, early December, which
It was early
sparked
December.
early December, and it sparked a wave through the NBA. And now Chris Paul is teamless, but the Clippers somehow still held on to his rights. Therefore, they traded him to Toronto. So now Toronto has his rights, but now they're waiving him again or looking for another trade partner. So he could be dealt by tomorrow in these next 22 hours, or he could be sitting at home on the couch again.
Couch again.
I genuinely wonder if it's a situation of maybe they waived him because they know that this year might be his last year, so they're
No,
basically
but
being like, yeah, we want you there, but as like a bench warmer, not really anything else.
yeah, but even to be put in a trade, you have to have some trade value. Right now, Chris Paul is just literally sitting at home. He
But
has the
But my thing is, what would Toronto thinking? Accepting Chris Paul if you're not even going to keep him? What would the point of getting rid of Ojibaji in that second round pick if you weren't even going to keep the guy you were getting? Like,
So
what would the point of this trade? Usually, a trade is to help one team, to help both sides. One team gives up something to help another. But basically, all teams are giving up shit except for Brooklyn. And nobody is getting anything except for Brooklyn. So Brooklyn is not giving up anything, they're just receiving. And everybody is giving up, but they're not receiving.
Yep.
let's call it like it
So
is.
how is that a fair trade?
Let's call it like it is. Ty Lue just wanted to get rid of Chris Paul.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
back, ladies and gentlemen. And we're here with a breaking story.
So it looks like Lonzo Ball is going to Utah as well to pair up with Jaren Jackson Jr. and
Larry Markkinen. Not only on the ball, but it's on the ball and a second round pick are going to Utah. Lonzo Ball is not going to Utah. He's being waived.
so he's
He'll be a free agent.
Jaden Ivey
So,
w- were traded.
to the Chicago Bulls. And Cujo, what's the package going back to Detroit and Minnesota?
Kevin Herter and Dario Saric
So
to the
Darius,
to the Pistons.
the Darius Saric goes to the Pistons.
Also with also Detroit also received the 2026 first round protected pick swap
Wait,
from Minnesota.
wait, hold on. Can we pause it for a second, Carlos?
I mean, we don't have to pause it, but I'll cut this part out. What did you want to say?
Um, we might have to scramble things in the editing
It's
because
fine.
we didn't even talk about the Hunter trade yet. Because that's where Dario Saric came from.
We
Because
did.
Dario,
Kevin Herter.
We did.
yeah,
But bro,
but Dario Saric is also in this deal, and he came from the Sacramento trade with DeAndre Hunter.
it's not scrambling. I just need to reorganize how I'm gonna
That's
put
what
the
I mean.
video together.
That's what I mean. Reorganize.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Because I totally forgot that we had to kind of do that trade first before this one.
Don't worry about it. Anyways, talking about reorganizing, gentlemen, I think we should move on to the Kobe
So,
White trade since
so
it's
We're
wait,
connected to
basically
this.
so
on
wait,
that.
so wait. Did we say what Minnesota and
Detroit get
Minnesota and
Detroit
Detroit get it?
Detroit
So
gets Dario Saric and a pick swap from Minnesota.
and Minnesota gets Kevin Herter and
And what's in Kevin Herter and I think just Kevin Herter because Detroit gets a pick swap. Yeah,
hold on a second. I
Yeah, it's
want to.
just Kevin Herter.
God damn it! Now I'm scrambling.
Kevin Herter and Dario goes to the Pistons. So they get Minnesota gets nothing.
Okay. Chicago Minnesota Detroit have agreed on one deal. Ivy and Conley to the Bulls. Kevin Hart and Dario Saric to the Pistons. Detroit received a first round pick swap from Minnesota. So yeah, Minnesota gets nothing.
Yep,
Yep.
that's
And then after that, Mike Conley gets traded to Charlotte along with Mr. Kobe White.
Yes, sir.
and then Chicago.
Which they also get Diang. What's his
You mean Osami? I think I'm saying his name correctly.
yeah,
No,
Ayosami Diang. Which they also got in exchange from the Oklahoma City Thunder for Mason Plumlee and a second round pick. So there'd been a lot of flipping going on. Mike Conley got flipped, Dieng got flipped, and there'd been a lot of waving going on with Chris Paul getting waived, Lonzo Ball getting waived. So this whole trade deadline has been pretty crazy from the
it's
start of this
it's
video.
never been this active on a Wednesday.
With that
It
being
never,
said,
it never.
gentlemen, I do see the light at the end of the tunnel, meaning that we only have a couple more trades to talk about left. So let's keep going, shall we?
hold
More
on.
is gonna pop up though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but we're only covering what we see or have in this video.
Never
So
mind. That's not anything.
I'm
Hold
letting
on.
Chris
I'm just
have his
going through this real quickly.
Chris. I have his Twitter open like right on the side.
Oh,
So
okay. So back to what we were saying before about the Hawks and Utah. It's not just Jack Wendell anymore. It's Jack Wendell and Dua Reese. And so Jack Wendell will join Dyson Daniels and Dua Reese in Atlanta, being rerouted to the Jazz to the Hawks for cash consideration.
I think this tweet breaks it down best.
Yeah, just cut what I just said out.
Essentially,
Because obviously there was no need for that. So just cut what I just said out.
Essentially, a three-team trade that allows Jazz to pick up 2 seconds, the Hawks to land a productive center in Landale, and the Cavaliers to shed significant salary and tax savings while bringing in James Harden, Keon Ellis, and Dennis Schroeder to fortify the roster this week.
Cujo, take it away, please.
All right, the Chicago Bulls are trading. The Celtics finally got a center, which kind of scares me because the Celtics are in our division. Shout out to my New York Knicks.
Oh my god, it could be. Wow.
So the Celtics get the center that they needed in Nikola Vucevic, and they get the Chicago Bulls to get Anthony Simons, which is probably the person that is going to try to replace Kobe White with, which Anthony Simons is a pure scorer.
Yeah.
He learned his tutelage under Damian Lillard. He's a carbon copy of him. So Anthony Simons gets to pair up with Josh Giddey, Matas Fuselis, and they got a good young core with
Yeah.
Josh Giddey and the crew. So
And also don't forget that Boston Chicago also has second round pick swaps. So Boston gets Vucevic and Chicago's second round pick, where Chicago gets Anthony Simons and their second round pick from Boston.
now I could honestly say the Vooch trade does scare me
It does
because
scare you because he reminds you of
he
what
reminds me
Porzingis
of
was.
he's an older version of Christoph Porzingis, and he could step. And we've had trouble with Vooch on the Bulls. Imagine him pairing, imagine him pairing up with Jalen Brown and the rest of the crew, and Jason Tatum probably coming back.
Oh, God, that'd be crazy. I mean, did you have any other trouble with him in like Orlando or Philly back in
Yes,
the day too?
yes. Philly was his rookie year. That was no problem. But Orlando and the Bulls, we had problems, and
Yes.
we already know Cat can't play defense.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, let's move on to the next trade, shall we?
yep.
So the Dallas Mavericks are trading 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis, James Harvey, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, and 2 first-round picks.
Mind you, these players just played last night.
That's how much they suck, Cujo. Next story, gentlemen. Next story.
No. So the 76ers are trading guard Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first round pick and 3 second round picks of their own.
How do we feel about this, gentlemen?
Jared
My
McCain
one,
had to go.
I was just gonna say, my question is, why is Oklahoma City giving up a first round pick? Because Jared McCain is a nice piece. He's young, he's talented, great. But he hasn't been the number one option. He hasn't been the number two option. He's been like a 4 or 5 option for the Sixers, Plus, to start this year, he was also injured, and I believe he's still injured and out for the season. So he hasn't really played this year at all. So really, they're just going based off of his rookie season. To me, which was nice, but
He was
could have been better.
he was in the running for rookie of the year. Don't get
I
it
mean,
twisted.
I mean that's true. He wasn't running for rookie of the year.
That is
He
true.
was that good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was crazy good. He was crazy good.
Yeah, he was excellent for the Sixers, but he just wasn't their one of their main options. He was like a fourth option or a fifth option.
My comment on why uh, the Thunder are being this lenient with the first round draft pick is because they're getting too complacent with the team they have right now. Genuinely, like I feel like they're like, oh, we have a good enough team that we don't really care. That being said,
No,
gentlemen, we're in the home
no,
stretch.
but
We have
I
three
feel
more stories left, so let's get this done, shall we?
damn. I thought we could. This was another head scratcher to me, cause like as we said at the very beginning, we talked about this very briefly. We all thought Ja was gonna get traded, and he could possibly, potentially, still get traded, but we thought the Grizzlies were gonna build around at least Triple
Triple
J
J.
and Ja, or one or the other. But they're deciding to blow up the whole team already, and to send him to the Utah Jazz, who already have a big roster of big men. They're sending Walker Kessler to the Grizzlies. They're sending who else?
So if you want me to read the trade, I can do that now for you if you want.
Yeah.
So the Memphis Grizzlies are trading Triple J to the Utah Jazz along with John Conchar, Jack Landale, and Vince Williams Jr. to the Jazz for Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendrick, Jordan Yang, and 3 first-round picks. So, like I just said, the Grizzlies are trading Jaron Jackson Jr., John Conchar, Jack Landale, and Vince Williams to the Utah Jazz for Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, Jordan Yang, and 3 future first-round picks.
See, they got a haul.
So,
Really?
basically, it's 4 players going to Utah, and it's 4 players plus 3 picks going back to Memphis. That's the
That's
best way to put it.
Yep.
that to me that's lopsided though. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we won't know who wins until they actually play and
I
benefit this.
mean, you gotta keep in mind it's 3 future first round picks. It's not any first round picks of this year. They're future first round picks. It has nothing to do with this year's draft.
Yep.
This year draft is gonna be deadly. All right, and
But
we move on.
but would you guys believe me if I said that Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder is being traded, and that's the next story that I'm gonna pull up.
What'd you
No, no,
just
no.
say?
Wait, wait up, wait up,
What'd you
wait,
just say? Yeah.
My
wait,
question
wait,
is,
wait, wait, wait,
my
wait,
question
wait,
is, do
wait.
you believe me or do you not believe me?
I
No,
don't believe you.
I don't believe you,
You're
jackass.
bullshitting me. You're what the
Good job, gentlemen. You didn't believe me. Let's move on to the last final story, shall we?
So the Cleveland Cavaliers are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Sacramento Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. It's also a 3-team trade,
as
which
we
also
know.
includes the Chicago Bulls acquiring Dario Saric from the Sacramento Kings and 2 future second-round picks.
And now we know what all that trade entails
Exactly.
now.
Exactly. So as we said earlier, in the Mike Conley trade before Mike Conley went to Charlotte, this is where Dario Saric comes to play in for the Chicago Bulls going to Detroit because he originally came from Sacramento going to Utah, and then he went from Utah to Detroit in the Jaden Ivey Mike Conley trade. Then Mike Conley got flipped to Charlotte with Kobe White, and that's how that all came out.
All
So
right.
the Atlanta Hawks are trading guard Vit Vit Krejci to the Portland Trailblazers for Dua Priest and 2 future second-round picks per sources. Krejci had averaged 9 points and 2.2 3-pointers per game on 42.3% shooting, which ranks the top 20 in the NBA. And now this one carries along to where Jack Wendell got traded with him and whatnot, which ties into the James Harden deal. With this all mixed into what we were saying earlier, folks, that were broken during the actual show.
Yes.
Yes.
So before we get to the ones on the board, I just want to go back to one that we didn't cover yesterday that did come out. Tyus Jones going to Charlotte, going from Orlando to Charlotte, just for cash consideration alone. No picks, no other players, just Tyus Jones himself going to the Charlotte Hornets for cash considerations, which is a whatever move because obviously they're just moving him to clear cap space.
But what I really want to say really quickly is they're really actually building something in Charlotte with LaMelo, Brendan Miller. They're Tyus Jones. Yeah, they're building something.
I mean, they're buying for the first time in like basically their history of the franchise.
They're in a good spot
They're
for the
exactly.
rest of this season, and
I don't know if Charlotte will be a playoff team. I think they might be a play-in team, if anything. But that's the last thing I'm gonna say about that.
if LaMelo gets healthy, then yeah. All
Yeah.
right, but we gotta move on.
So let's start with our first trade. So this one is just basically the same, just moving a contract and just basically dumping a contract to get somebody off their books, just to clear a roster spot essentially, and to make room for another offseason move. So the Warriors are moving Chase Jackson Davis, a center, to the Toronto Raptors, and his contract was basically expiring. So they just wanted to trade him to get him off the team. So they're going to be getting a second round pick in return. Okay, let's get to the next one, shall we? This one is kind of a mind boggler to me. And I know that because I said that to Carlos when it went down last night. Um, the Golden State Warriors are trading Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for Kristaps Porzingis. No
Damn.
teams, no cash in return, no picks, just straight up players. So basically, Jimmy Butler ain't coming back this year, so they bring in Porzingis, who's a center, who's gonna defend the ball and whatnot. But I don't know what
So
exactly they want Porzingis to do. I understand he's injury prone, and
they have
I
Al
mean,
Horford.
that's basically the reason why they did that is because of Al Horford. That's what Shams has been saying. That's basically the reason why they did it. Is because Porzingis and Al Horford won the 24 championship in Boston together. So they thought re-teaming them together in Golden State would spark something.
One could barely stay on the damn
Exactly.
courts.
But they thought if they reunited them that they would get closer to a championship. Okay, let's move on to the next deal. Here's another straight up trade where no pick involved, no cash involved, just players in exchange for players. Yeah, the New York Knicks will be flipping Dylan Terry to the New Orleans Hornets, which we'll get to in a moment,
New Orleans
ladies and
Pelicans.
gentlemen. Yeah,
Pelicans.
yep,
As a Knicks fan,
yeah.
the way it was executed, it was perfect. And Yavuzeli released a statement and agreed with the fan. Yavuzeli didn't agree with Mike Brown with his placement in the system. He didn't fit in Mike Brown's plan, and I agree. But Yavuzeli was a great energizer player, I guess, and wish him all the best in Chicago. And Chicago does plan on keeping Yavuzeli. So
All right, let's get to the next trade. Sticking with the theme of the Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Bulls are trading Ayo DeSimo and Julian Phillips to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for
Rob
Rob
Dillingham.
Dillingham, Leonard Miller, a 2026 second round pick, 2027 second round pick, 2031 second round pick and 2032 second round pick. God damn.
So they got a haul basically.
And may I remind you that these are all second round picks. 4 second round picks with 2 players. No first round picks involved whatsoever.
So that's still good because they keep their first round picks. Again, Rob Dillingham didn't get the opportunity that he did in that he will get now in Chicago. Rob Dillingham was just everybody thought he would be a good piece to pair up with Anthony Edwards. He just didn't get enough playing time. Now hopefully he could show what he can do, set Chicago on fire, basically.
Yep, exactly. I was just gonna say basically the same thing. I feel like Rob Dillingham was kind of misused in Minnesota. Not exactly misused, but he
Vince
just
didn't know how
really
to use him.
he just really didn't fit. I mean, they wanted him. They wanted to pair him up with Anthony Edwards, and it just didn't quite work as well as they hoped. So therefore, they moved him to give him a better opportunity to give him more playing time. I mean, to be fair, when you're making a trade in this league, sometimes it's also to benefit the player you're giving up to satisfy them and what's best for their career, inclu- and also what's best for the team. Next is,
As a Laker fan, how do you feel about this?
I actually feel good about this, that the Los Angeles Lakers have traded Gabe Vincent and a second round pick to the Atlanta Hawks for Luke Kennard. And as we've seen in the past, Kennard is a very young player that's been on Cujo. You would think he's been on the bench majority of his career.
He was a bench warmer.
He's a bench warmer, yep. And I feel like he still will be a bench warmer with the Lakers. But there's something about him and his playing style that I think that he
Reminds you
could
of
bring.
JJ Redick.
Exactly, remind me of JJ Redick, and I think he could bring something to the Lakers just by his playing style alone. I mean, he's a great defender. He shoots the ball every now and again.
And
He gets steals. So what's not to like?
and remember, he was top he was top 3 for consecutive years in a row for best 3-point percentage. So it gives you a sharpshooter off the bench.
Yes, it does. And Gabe Vincent, I just feel like he was getting old and was having a difficult time in the Lakers system this season. I don't really feel like he was doing much as we thought he was gonna impact the team
I
as
beg
like
to
he did
differ
in Miami.
completely.
Wait,
I
say that
bet
again.
I was gonna say something else. The
I
man
mean,
was the man was injury prone and collecting a check
well, yeah,
for doing nothing.
well, that's what I mean.
Good.
He was getting older. He was injury prone. He wasn't doing anything connecting and collecting a check. I was trying to be nice about it, but yeah, basically. All right, on to our next trade. So as we said, Chris Paul would go into the Raptors. Ochai Abaji would go to Brooklyn with a second round pick. But now we have confirmation that going to the LA Clippers is,
Vanya Marinkovic.
there you
Marinkovic.
go, thank you,
Mhm.
Benja Marikovic.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that each team in this situation got a good deal? Or do you think that one team got a better deal than the other?
Honestly, I think Brooklyn got the best edge of, got the best part of it because Marinkovic, I don't really know too much about him. I
Mhm.
feel like if I would have thrown him on the court more, I could give you more insight, but I haven't, unfortunately. So that's that. I mean, Chris Paul is Chris Paul. He's about to retire at the end of the year, so I'm not really sure what Toronto is expecting to get out of him. And Ochai Abaji is a younger player. He's not young, but he's younger, like 27, 28.
Right.
So Brooklyn gets him and a second round pick.
Is
And
is
from what and from what I heard from other Raptor fans, the trade was just to move Abaji's contract away from the Raptors. That's basically all this trade was for. just to offload Abaji's contract so the Raptors could do something more in the offseason.
That makes sense. I was
Yeah.
gonna ask, is Marikovich old or is he young?
Was drafted in the second round. He was the last pick in 2019. So he's basically a G Leaguer. He really hasn't seen the court that much. So basically, it's just a trade full of bag of chips.
Gotcha.
Like I just said, the reason why they did the trade was to move Ochai Abaji's contract off the Raptors. That was the main goal of this trade.
Gotcha.
It wasn't really about getting Marinkovic to the Clippers or getting Chris Paul to the Raptors. It was mostly about getting Ochai Abaji off the Raptors and on somebody else's team, and in this case, it's Brooklyn's. That was the main goal of this trade. Okay,
Uh,
on to our next trade, which we just gave you a little preview of before. The New York Knicks are trading, like we said, Dalen Terry to the New Orleans Pelicans, along with 2 second-round picks for Jose Alvarado.
No, I just had one quick question because there's a trade here that says Utah acquires.
Oh shit, I'm sorry, I totally skipped over that trade by accident.
No,
Yes,
no.
yes, my mistake. Yes, so the Boston Celtics are trading Red Boucher to the Utah Jazz. At the time, it is undetermined what Boston will be receiving, but hopefully we'll find that out in the next couple of hours or a day or so. All that Red Boucher is, he's a bench player. What he's most notable for is being a member of the 2019 champion Toronto Raptors team.
Gotcha.
And he
Gotcha.
was also the last member of that 2019 Raptors team to leave Toronto when he was traded to Boston. And now, about a year or two later, now he's being traded to Utah for we don't know what else so far. But like I said, hopefully we'll find out in the next 24 hours or so. So, Mr. Isaiah Cucho, what do you think about the Knicks Falcons trade?
honestly, I've been waiting for this trip because there's been rumors of Jose coming to us for like season seasons upon seasons. So actually, we could Leon Leon pulled it off. It's phenomenal. It helps us out with bench depth and somebody that could give us energy. He's like another Josh Hart, I want to say, or like a smaller version of Dante what we had last year, except he could play defense. Like we need that energizer. We need that tough grit and grind like we had last year, and we could actually make a run in the playoffs with Jose. Knock on wood. Like if Jalen gets tired or like you know it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit.
Because I agree because uh, you found our ever he lost our oh god come on
Yeah, that season last year we really it really showed that we needed a backup point guard, and I feel like Alvarado could do that for us, and he averages steals like Chris said. We were talking about that
yeah,
off
we
the
were talking
show.
about that on camera. He's basically known for steals, so I think his defense and his shooting ability, especially from like the 3 point area, can really help New York. And like you said, I think he's maybe an extension of kind of like a Josh Hart type player.
Yes,
I
exactly.
just wanted to come in real fast and say, you guys keep saying we just need one more piece. One more piece to get us there. It's not gonna happen, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sad to say that.
You
Coach,
live
what
in
your
you
fucking
live in the state. You live. Oh my
With
God,
that
no,
being
Cujo.
no, hold on. Can I just extend Cujo? You said that you feel like you needed another backup. You said you feel like you needed a backup point guard because of what happened last year. Last year, where was Deuce McBride?
Deuce. Okay,
Oh shit.
as of last year, Deuce wasn't.
Okay, next trade. The Denver Nuggets are trading or traded Hunter Tyson to the Brooklyn Nets along with a second round pick for a second round pick. So basically, it's not exactly a second round pick swap because Denver is getting a 26 second rounder and Brooklyn is getting a 2032 second rounder along with Hunter Tyson.
I'm a bit confused in this situation. Why would Brooklyn want a second round pick that far in advance?
Because you could only give e- they only I think they only give like picks up to 5 years or even one.
No,
Yeah,
what happens is the NBA gives you picks up until 7 years in advance. But the thing is, since this is two since this is 2026 coming up, people have up until 2033 to play with. So, no, I'm sorry, they have up until 2032 to play with. So therefore, you can trade any pick between now and 2032 in trade.
I
But,
un- I
but, the-
understand that, but at the same time, I feel like it's taking too much of a gamble to wait
but
that long.
that being said, you add on each year as time goes on. So last year was
And
2031. This year is 2022. So
Yeah.
since the draft is only 2 rounds, you only get two more picks each year. So theoretically, Denver could have traded all of their picks between now and 31 already, and all they had left to trade was 32.
Okay, that makes moving on.
Okay, another Brooklyn trade. The Boston Celtics are trading Josh Minot to Brooklyn for a package to be determined. So essentially, Boston is trading Josh Minot to Brooklyn for a package to be announced later.
I do
And
want to.
and him, he's like basically a G leaguer. He's not even a known guy. He's just a gamble. He's just basically a bag of chips. Okay, next trade.
oh my god.
Eric Gordon is being traded from the Philadelphia 76ers to the Memphis Grizzlies, along with a 2032 second round pick for a for a 2032 second round pick going back to Philly. So essentially, it's a 2032 second round pick swap, along with Eric Gordon.
I think you skipped one again.
No, I'm
No,
doing
this
both Memphis, Philadelphia, which was the one after Brooklyn, Boston. I
No,
didn't skip one.
no. There's one right after Brooklyn, Boston. That's Indiana and LA.
No, on my end, that's after
Oh, I don't know why, because
Memphis.
on my end, it's not.
on Carlos's end, it's Dave.
Oh, okay, so we'll go there. My bad.
No worries.
So, okay. So I'll just jump there then. So the LA Clippers are trading Avaka Zubac and Kobe Brown in exchange for Benedict Mathurin, a 2026 first round pick, 2029 first round pick, and 2028 as well as Isaiah Jackson.
No, you were right.
Damn.
You were right the way you said it before. It is 2028.
Oh,
It's
2028, my
2028
bad.
second round pick.
Yeah, my bad. So it's basically two players for two players and picks. So it's Avega Zubac and Kobe Brown for Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, two first rounders, and a second rounder.
Yep.
Lujo, do you have any thoughts on Benedict Mathurin going to the Clippers or Zubac going to the Pacers?
Zubac going to the Pacers is giving them a dramatic upgrade at the center position because he was the number one rebounder in the league in the earlier part of the season. It was him versus Mitchell Robinson before Mitch took over that title. He's a good rebounder, a rim protector, so there's an upgrade. But letting go of Benedict Mathurin after what he did last year in the playoffs, like dude, he was an annoying player to guard, but he's a great individual and a great player himself. So them getting rid of that, so they're basically blowing up everything in Indiana right now until Tyrese comes back. Go.
And according from what I heard, the Indiana Pacers are looking to replace Miles Turner, who they lost in free agency this past offseason, who was a dominant center for them. They lost him when he signed with the Milwaukee Bucks in the offseason. So now they get Zubac to take over that role that Miles Turner once
But
held.
Miles Turner was better, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah. And I believe they're also hoping that Zubac and Tyrese Halliburton might play similarly to how Kobe and Shaq played out too, I think.
Nah,
I'm not saying that they are. I'm saying I think that's what Indiana's hoping for.
that's the direction they wanted to go, basically.
Eric Gordon is going to the Memphis Grizzlies from Philadelphia, basically for two second round 2032 pick swaps. So Memphis gets Philly's 32 second rounder. Philly gets Memphis's 32 second rounder. So basically, in my eye, this is just Philly dumping Eric Gordon off in Memphis.
And I think Memphis is gonna buy out Eric Gordon because Eric Gordon is at the age he he's just a bench warmer. He could shoot threes, yes, but not at the consistent clip that he already did. So I think at the end of the day, either they buy him out or flip
Yeah,
him to.
I would. I wouldn't be surprised if this is his final season, just like Chris Paul. Next trade, the Charlotte Hornets are flipping a player with a just received from the Orlando Magic, Tyus Jones, to the Dallas Mavericks for Malachi Burkham, which is a player they received from Washington. So Dallas is also flipping him because he is a player that they received from Washington in the Anthony Davis trade. So
D'Angelo Russell.
two players being flipped are being traded for in the same deal.
D'Angelo Russell is one of those players.
Yep. Yeah. But this trade is just Tyus Jones for Malachi Barkham. So how do you feel about this trade, Cujo? What did Tyus Jones bring, not to Charlotte, but what does he bring to Dallas?
What does he bring to Dallas? I think he brings a playmaker to with Cooper Flag, and he's a better facilitator than Hardy, which they let go already to. I believe Hardy is in Washington. No, Hardy is in Washington. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Hardy's
but
in Washington,
yeah.
so he's a great playmaker. He's a placeholder until Kyrie comes back, and I don't know what. I honestly don't know what the Dallas Mavericks are doing. Are they blowing up the team? Are they keeping? Are they centering it around Cooper Flag, which that's the majority consent the amount of things they gave up to Washington, and then therefore Washington to flip that again. So like yeah, they're trying to build around Cooper Flag. I thought they were gonna keep AD to see what that pair would look like. AD, Kyrie Irving, and Cooper Flag, but
Let's get to our final trade of the
da da
day,
da
shall we?
da.
And of course, somebody is getting flipped in this one as well. So, our final trade of the day is a three-team trade between the Chicago Bulls, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Phoenix Suns. So, the Chicago Bulls receive center Nick Richards. The Milwaukee Bucks receive Nigel
Nigel Hayes.
Nigel Hayes Davis and a, s-
He-
a summon a summon Dieng, which
Asum Asum Asamoah Dieng, yeah.
a summon Dieng, which Milwaukee is getting from Chicago, and the Phoenix Suns receive point guard Cole
Cole
Anthony
Anthony.
and Amir Coffey, the shooting guard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade. I believe, to be honest with you, Phoenix one. mm, Let's take Coffee out of the equation. I think they get a good player in Cole Anthony to pair up with Devin Booker because who's their point guard right now? I believe it's Devin actually. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so he could slide back to his original position, the two, and they could Cole Anthony could finally show what he's able to do. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good start for Cole and finally get in a good position.
But I also want to praise Chicago for the trade. They actually get a center because I don't know if you've been seeing this all day today and yesterday and possibly the day before. All of these trades, all Chicago has been getting is guards,
And
guard
guard
after
this.
guard after
Yeah,
guard,
yeah, yeah. I
and now
agree.
they finally get a center.
Be-
So really, Chicago has nothing but guards and Nick Richards now, who is a center. So they're really going to have to play small ball because their team is really an average height of like 6'4",
Six
maybe a
four,
little bit
six
higher.
three. 6'4",
Exactly,
6'3". Yeah, at least.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
they are a really small team.
But with that
and
being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Carlos Hernandez. That is Isaiah Cujo. That over there is Aaron Johnson. And that down below is Christopher Allen. We are your bro council. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you
Next time.
time.